So I'm excited about this entire day today, but this session, I have to admit, is one of the ones that I was really looking forward to the most. And I'll say that probably again with the other speakers so I don't insult anybody. But the topic of media in general, and media specifically as it relates to the LGBT community and authenticity and things like meaning and resilience and exposure, clearly that fits squarely into the media realm. And when we were talking about what kind of conversation we wanted to have around media, and we were kicking around different speakers and who did we want to have, and Janet and Laura's names came up, there was like just a big collective light bulb that went off about what an amazing conversation we could have here today. So I want to thank both of you ladies for your time. No pressure, no. Very, very easy conversation. And again, as before, if anyone has questions or comments, please let's make this interactive. This is your conversation, not just our conversation. So please feel free to toss your hand in the air, and we've got someone with a microphone who will come to you. So before we get started, I wanted to do what I did with the last session and just maybe 3 or 4 minutes for each of you to talk a little bit about your trajectory that brought you to where you are today. Give people a little bit of an insight into who you are. Laura, I'm always going to start immediately to my left, so you're immediately to my left. So why don't we start with you and kind of what brings you here today?
I should ask my lawyer what I can say. What brings me here today? Why don't you go first?
Would you like to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. Do I need to speak into this?
Yes. So this is for them. You know them. These guys.
Hi, I'm Janet Mock. I am a writer, but before I even discovered that I wanted to write, I guess I have 2 coming out stories in a sense. I transitioned from my parents' firstborn son, Charles, into the woman who's sitting in front of you right now. She, probably about 7th grade, I realized, that I was going to take steps into becoming who I am. And as a young person, obviously not really kind of knowing how I was going to do that. And my best friend today, who I grew up with, is here, Wendy. We did it together, basically, on our own. Older women who did it before us helped us, guide the way. And basically, it kind of started with me wearing lip gloss to school, and teachers saying, "Okay." And there's lip gloss, and then once you go to wearing a bra to school, and then wearing women's high heel shoes, and things start getting kind of interesting. And this is circa 1998, and I was just a kid, and I was just being who I was, and I was already told that being who I was not accepted in school and not okay, and so I just kept on letting people know that I was going to continue to make space for myself in this school. I was going to play the tuba in the marching band. I was going to run for student council president and win. I was going to win the only scholarship that our little school had to give to a student to go to a 4-year university. And through it all, I just kind of was just trying to be me and making sure that there was going to be a space for me because I was going to make it for myself. And blah, 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 I had surgery, blah, 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 all of that stuff. I'm not really quite interested in talking about surgeries, but eventually I found myself in New York. I went to graduate school here. I got a master's at NYU in journalism, and I landed at People magazine. I'm an editor for the website. I write about very important things like Angelina Jolie and her children.
Hey, look, she just got another award from the UN. So, there's something.
Suri Cruise's kitten heels. Very important stuff like that. But no, it really is fun to write escapism for people who feel very close to people in media. And so after a while, I kind of felt a responsibility to tell my own story. And the people in my life, the people closest to me, people I went to high school with, everyone knew. So it wasn't as if there was this big charade where I was hiding who I was. People in my life knew. It was just coming forward publicly because I knew I had a platform to do so with my media contacts, and I told my story through a journalist that I knew to Marie Claire magazine in their June issue, so that came out in May, and I coupled it with a It Gets Better video, so I could speak directly to kids because I know that they probably, many of them don't read. And I
They just look at pretty pictures.
Yeah, and so they're like, oh, she's pretty, oh, and she's trans, and she's just like me. And so that was just kind of what I did, and I've just kind of been going with it and talking directly to kids who talk to me and women who are scared of coming out and who live stealth their entire lives. And it's just an interesting place to kind of be asked to speak on behalf of, you know, a whole group of people who don't really get to speak that much. And knowing that I do have that responsibility, and so I'm just excited to kind of talk about all of that stuff and to get to know Laura and Kathy and talk with you all. So thank you for having me.
Sure, thank you.
That helped. That helped. No, because, you know, it's like what you said, I'm a writer. And I think when you become aware that you're different and you see things and you have the need to, maybe you're not particularly beholden to the given state of reality. And if you're schizophrenic, then life can be a walk in the park. But being a writer and feeling that you're not given to a given state of reality, you're more available to recombine, recraft, play with. And to try and do that in life, how do you know when you experience that who you are isn't okay with a given state of culture, but you can have this life available to you in storytelling where it can be okay. And I think for so many artists that I've encountered, and this is true for me, finding a way where life as I know it can be okay. And what so many people, it's constantly being told you're not okay, it's not possible. And that for me was my story. And it was constantly trying to find a way where I could use asbestos gloves to handle material that I couldn't otherwise touch, which for me was creating another being. Genesis Porridge talks about it's not a man trapped in a woman's body or a woman being trapped in a man's body, it's being trapped in a body, right? And for me, that's been my experience. I am trapped in a body. And it took me a long time to find people that let me know that spirit is available to me, that I can allow spirit to move through me, that I can share of spirit, and whatever I need to do that, as long as I'm coming from love, that's okay. And I'm originally from New York, from Brooklyn, and growing up, it's a similar story. I was a dropout. 6th grade was my last grade of completion. I was institutionalized on my 14th birthday at St. Vincent's, and then in and out of institutions until I became a ward of the state in a group home. And I was really lucky that I was placed, there were house parents that really allowed us to, when we were artists, that wasn't something that we had to hide, which often happens in institutions where you're not allowed to be expressive. And I won scholarships to go to Eugene Lang, part of the New School. And there I had a writing teacher who was wonderful, but she said, girls write as girls and boys as boys. And I had internalized the male voice. To me, when I saw after school specials, when they were just starting to talk about abuse, it was always a blonde-haired, blue-eyed little boy. It was always there. They were cute. So, oh my God, you beat that little boy, you're terrible. But I needed to see like Precious. The movie Precious has a lot of issues, okay? Like why are all the dark people bad and all the light? It's got a lot of issues. But at the end of the day, what was wonderful for me to see, here's someone who's morbidly obese, she's tall, she's very dark. You know, after this movie won Sundance, they were saying, how are we gonna market this shit? They didn't think they could market this movie because she ain't cute. It won the audience award, right? And they didn't have faith because we are not used to seeing people, to be asked to have empathy for people that aren't marketable. So I didn't see that growing up. So Oscar Wilde said, give a man a mask and he'll tell you the truth. I needed a full fucking bodysuit. And for real, you know? And that's what I did. And I created this being, J.T. Leroy, who was real to me. He was, you know, when all these other people who wrote fake memoir, and I published all my work as fiction for what it's worth, and which isn't much, you know? And whenever these people who were busted, like, excuse me, we found out you're not really a pygmy from Africa, you know, they would come and say, they'd call a press conference, say, excuse me, I'm not really a pygmy, I apologize, I really, you know, when I was outed, I dug in deeper because I have in my diary, if you take him, I'll die. I couldn't imagine life without him. My lungs didn't function. And then the mainstream press, they called it hoax and this and that. And, you know, I just had to lean into the art and people who understood and knew. And people said to me, you can't stand up in a tsunami. And you know, experiencing different expressions of gender and identity, you know that you have to find your sustenance, your identity, not from the mainstream culture. So it makes you more available to give up on being understood, just to give up and be, like someone said, be still and know that I am God, right? We know. And yeah, that you know.
I'd say that takes us to the path where we are today.